Hi, I'm Glenn McGinnis, host of Outburst on the Cable Public Affairs channel. Lately, we, like many others, have been doing things differently. We've been talking to Canadians across the country via Zoom about the COVID-19 pandemic and the issues surrounding it. We posed this question to Canadians. Do you approve of the job the Prime Minister and provincial premiers are doing?
I have to say, this is the best I think our premier has been. Now, unfortunately, he has already resigned and there's a leadership race currently on hold, but this is the best he's been, and I'll give him credit for doing that good job. Federally, I think the Prime Minister is doing okay. I think he could probably take lead from an all-party committee wherever, that has collaboration from everybody. But overall, I think they're doing a good job.
Our healthcare workers in Quebec have been calling for better working conditions for years, and that resulted in a shortage of healthcare workers right now in Quebec. We're still waiting for these conditions, and on the federal level, the bailout that was announced by the federal government for oil and gas industry should go to these workers instead of the companies.
Yes, I would say that the premiers and the Prime Minister have displayed competence, which certainly when you compare it to our neighbors to the south is an improvement, but we mustn't mistake competence for courage. I do think that there's a lot more that all governments could be doing with respect to people who are falling through the cracks, labor, employment standards, the environment, and the mental health response specifically too.
I think that the Prime Minister and the Premier and the collaboration that's going on with the all-party committees, I think they're doing grand for health. But there is more to our existences in Canada and in Newfoundland than just health. We have a whole life to think about. So my concern just right now is that there are lots of opportunities, and the real opportunity here is to let Canadians, let Newfoundlanders speak, let people rise to the challenge of contributing. If we're going, as we advance in the future, in particular in Newfoundland, we have a very, very, very tough road ahead of us. We had one before this. Now we have a real tough road to hoe. And so what that means is that we have to be stronger, we have to be better, we have to be more resilient, we have to be wiser, all of that stuff in order to live well.
Generally, from the federal perspective, I think that they've done a fine job. But here in Ontario, we've seen 2 years of a provincial government that it took a pandemic for the government to begin behaving like a government and working with the rest of Canada. So I think that generally a fine job is being done, but I think that there's always room for improvements, and there's definitely ways that they can continue to support low-income people and students and people on disability and farmers and just entire groups of people who are continually left behind, even if not during a pandemic.
I think the daily updates are fantastic. I think everybody really takes advantage of them. They watch them, and there is a feeling that people are getting the information that they need. I think when it came to the first part of the COVID, I think they were very decisive. When they saw what was happening in other countries, they stopped. They started and enacted all of this physical distancing and closures, school closures, all that. I think that happened very early on, where it didn't happen in other countries.